Oi, 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 my fellow peasants. How you doing, guys? Just been chilling and seen a drop of Final Fantasy 16 news. I've just had a lovely soul send it to me, and I had to cover this one. I didn't think I was going to be covering anything on this channel until I went out to the States, which I'm going in 5 days. 5 days. I've wanted to cover stuff since I've been back in the UK, only a couple of weeks, but it's been crazy, yo. Planning the next journey, as well as celebrating my 30th, which I've come to realise, Brits, we're alcoholics. When it comes to socialising, we're like and a birthday turns into a birth week. And I had to detox from that, man. So I was doing some fasting. I feel a bit better now. I feel a bit less degenerate. But 16, Yoshida has come out and dropped us a whole plethora of news, info on 16. I'm going to cover it, take it point by point, and let's see if this game is moving in the direction we all hope and desire. It's going to be a really stripped back, laid back video, but I just want to chat to you guys. So, I don't think I've even gone through this list entirely, so some of these points are going to be new for me. But number one, party members are there, but AI controlled. They will rotate as the story progresses. When I first saw that, I did feel a little bit of a only because Final Fantasy, man, it's about playing multiple characters, and 15, like, it came out, and I did not like 15's combat. I've got to be honest and real and say, considering I've not had any urge to go back and play 15, that says something. It got a lot better by the time we could switch out all the bros, switch between. And yes, Noctis had multiple different weapons he could use, which changed the gameplay up, but when I've seen it with 16, I'm a little bit more hopeful, because it looks like the changes are a lot more dramatic with the different icons that Clive can use. So we're not going to be controlling other party members, or will we? Because point two is some characters might be playable, but for small segments of the story. Now I'm wondering, when they say that with the characters, do they mean the characters in human form or icon form? Because looking at that trailer, the last part, second 16 trailer, it really does look like we control the summon. It looks like summon player versus summon enemy. And I'm wondering if that's what they're referring to. We'll take over like the Garuda chick, or take her over any day, or Hugo, or maybe we'll do it in the human form. Man, this camera is wobbly. Alright, point number three. It will not be open world, but feature a lot of area. 4 large areas are especially large. El Chungus. I like this. I'm happy with this. Same as when we saw... Well, we didn't really see anything with the 7 Remake Part 2. A little bit of Nibelheim. That just seemed like a wide linear area. I'm a massive fan of wide linear. You guys have heard me hype on it. I am more than happy for that to be the format of this world. I've never been a major fan of open world outside of the setting of MMOs. And that's simply because I feel like they slow down the pacing of the story, or the relentlessness of the story. I like that shit to be relentless. And that's actually point number, skipping over 1.5. The story of 16 is said to progress at the speed of a roller coaster. Let's go. Bat out of hell. Dunk it on me. I love the feeling when the story is so overwhelming that when you do go to those little world sections and combat sections and all sections there, it's like a gasp of air. You're just coming up for a breather before you get thrown back into it. I love that intensity. So to hear that 16 is being reported to be like that, let's go, boys. Let's go, Choker Bros. Choker Hoes. Dudes, dudettes. Point number 4 that I skipped over. The game will feature a monster hunt system, side quests, hideouts, and such. No surprise being that this is the Evilise team, that we're going to have monster hunting. I hope it's just like Evilise. That's one of my favourite aspects of 12. Well, not one of my favourites, but because Balthier, the leading man, is of course the best thing out of 12. Let me hear an amen. Unless anyone has something Does anyone disagree with that? What's the best thing that came out of 12? If anyone says Vaughn's abs or Fran's feet, I swear, man. Be serious. Oh, yeah. So yeah, there's going to be side juicies. How much? I don't know. Of course, I hope. For me, I never understand why a side quest is ever as lame as, say, the traps in 15. That shit traumatized me. I was there for like 3 hours, like 2 in-game days hunting for traps. I can get on with side quests if they're funny or quirky or there's something interesting going on, but most of the time I like it to be contributing to the story in some way. I'm all about that story. For me personally, whenever I'm like really in the grit, the emotional unfolding of a story, I don't like to go off for huge swathes of time into just irrelevant stuff, which seems like we're going to be able to control that, because point number, I can remember, Captain, is you can explore and take your time or beeline through the story. Nice. There will be a skill tree, as I understand it. It will have one for each icon, and you can respec. You can respec to find the build you want. So each like Clive stance will have also nuances and changes within that. Very cool. Very, very cool. I think that's kind of what Final Fantasy fans have been craving for a while, and why 10 with its skill tree and some of the other combat systems we've had. The specking aspect, being able to really build it, tailor it. I've been missing that for a long time. And we didn't even really have that in 13. No, like the tree we sort of had there was, well, you could like pick the particular things you wanted to spec into. It was kind of more like statistics. It was the statistics you were changing more than the actual combat itself, like actual skills. And I don't know what they refer to here. Like, will there be one kind of Garuda attack versus another? Right. We'll be able to mod like Odin Zenzakuken in some kind of way. I don't know. But man, I'm so excited. Oh, I can't believe 16s. Oh, my heart's starting to pound. Don't know why. Don't know why. Just give me a little bit of a flutter, especially this next line. Strap in. Summon fights will be varied. 3D shooter game. Pro wrestling match. A battlefield. They are also fully playable. Okay, this is only where I read up to pro wrestling match. After I read that, so I've got to do this goddamn video. I've got to speak to you guys. What the hell is all that? I like 3D shooter game with the summons. I mean, what? Like, because obviously this is medieval, so there's not guns. This ain't gonna be Dirge Cerberusing about. But which summon can shoot? Like Garuda knives, or we'll be able to like throw meteors or pebbles from Titan. Armor, bolts. What are we actually shooting? What are we shooting? It's not like we're going to have Ifrit with an AK, so I guess it's shooting spells and aiming it. The wrestling match, I cannot. We're actually going to get to rough and tumble with with the summons. Are we going to be able to like be Titan and like tombstone or pile drive like old man stone of ramen into the ground? Rama. I haven't fully broken my fast yet, so I'm thinking of food. And then that's really, really exciting. The battlefield. I'm picturing being alive in some huge conflict, Dynasty Warrior style, but you're like Shiva. We saw it in the trailer, you know, when she like sends the ice bolts, poofed soldiers everywhere. Are we going to actually get to do that? Oh, that's going to be so orgasmic. This is going to be so good. It seems like we're going to get everything. Multiple forms. They are going all out with the summons. This is everything we could have dreamed for in terms of where the summons, where everyone has been saying they want them to go. It seems like the ultimate culmination. And it kind of backs up here. FF16's themes will be around the clash of values and ideals and the bonds between people. So I didn't stick this in my last vid because I only saw it after I posted it. But yeah, this Final Fantasy, this is going to be from a whole lineage of absolute goats. Absolute goats. From Evilise, Vagrant Story, 12, that whole culmination, Yoshi P. who obviously in 14 also brought in some evilly stuff. Everything with class warfare, politics, nations, imperialism. Dope theme. I love, and it's still quite a famous quote today, when people say, like, oh, where did this quote come from? Oh, it's from Final Fantasy Tactics. That one, was it Delita who said it? No, it was someone else. There's a few Evilise quotes that have like, extended outside of the game, just because of how impactful they are. One of those being, if the punishment for crime is a fine, then that punishment is only meant for poor people. And this is what I'm most excited about 16, guys, is that it comes from a vein and lineage of Final Fantasy devs and just talent that we've not had in this series for about a decade now. Oh, well, we've had them, but not in like one game, in one place, in one mainline issue. You know, since 12, basically. And these are deep thinkers. These are individuals who are thematically brave in terms of what they put forward. It's dark, it's gritty, it's morbid. And I know not everyone wants that for the next Final Fantasy. I know there's a lot of people who just want that sort of FF9 style, or like 6, or sort of the lightheartedness of, I don't know, maybe 5 at places. And I've seen a few articles coming out saying, since watching 16, I've had to accept, I saw like 2 articles, probably more people who think like this, that Final Fantasy is no longer the series I love. It's not the series I remember. I don't resonate with it anymore because many individuals, for them, Final Fantasy it was that multi-race, quirky, out there, ridiculous, Zidane and VVPing up a wall, 7 cross-dressing nonsense, Zell with his hot dogs, kind of suplex and train, just totally out there, ridiculous, floofy, kind of hilarious, zany, high fantasy nuttiness. And yeah, we've not had that for a while, and I can't feel that theme, although we may have little moments of snips of it, we're not going to get that in 16. Some people are really longing for that, but for me, I have for a long time. In fact, I posted a video out, I wanted Final Fantasy to go M-rated, to go dark, have blood, have a bit of nudity, to be even more daring, and dare I say it, even more angst. And 16 looks like it's going to be delivering all of that. But yeah, of course, you also need to break it up with a bit of lightheartedness. You have friends on the journey and have important conversations with them. They will also fight alongside you. We did kind of see that in one of the first trailer. There was just like a soldier with young Clive. It's cool that we're going to do that with multiple characters. And one thing I do hope comes from 15. 15 absolutely smashed the just the random dialogue pieces, like interactions, bits in combat. Absolutely nailed it. Some of the lines that the bros would come out with and how situational some of those were fantastic. So if we see any of that kind of in 16, that would be great. There is a buddy system, right, where you can give them directions in battle. Potentially your dog, wolf, Torgal. Eh? What are you saying? What dog/wolf Torgal? What a Torgal? What a Torgal? I don't know, man. The game will complete at launch. No movies, but there is reading material in the game if you want to learn more. Okay, how do we feel about that? Of course, with 13, a lot of people felt that way too much was in text format, in data logs, some things that were really important and pertinent to the story. I agree on some aspects, but there was also a lot of very good, deep, enriching lore that was in text. And some people just hate it in any capacity. Me, not so much. While I, of course, would like as much of the lore to be in the actual story and presented to me in cinematic goodness, if it means not making the world's like backstory and lore and the universe and the mechanics of this world not very superficial and surface thin, stick it in some logs. I'm okay with that, but no movies. Okay. I said about this the other day. Advent Children, Kingslave. Did we like these movies? Spirits Within. Shit, do we even like Spirits Within? Yeah, Spirits Within. It was an okay film, but it wasn't a Final Fantasy. It was a sci-fi. Neil. I hate Neil. Fuck Neil. What was his name? Nigel. I don't know. Neil or Nigel. Fuck him. He ruined. He ruined the film. AC and Kingsglaive. But we will be getting no movie. So looks like this is going to be very different to how 15 came out. There's not going to be some really expanded out roadmap. Animes and pinball games and mobile entries and what was that? What was that damn small game where we was like in Regis's storytelling? He was telling Noctis a nighttime story. Did we fight Ultros at the end? There were so many weird, bizarre entries and also some really good ones. For 15, the roadmap was kind of exciting, but in a way, I'm kind of glad they're going to keep it just to the game and keep it more minimalistic and just focus on that. Yeah. So Yoshi P fans told him the series was becoming static, stale, question mark, in their vision, which is why they want 16 to be different. Okay, yeah. I wonder where Yoshi P got this fan feedback from. I think, do we agree with that? The series is becoming static and stale? It's an interesting way to phrase it, because of course this series hasn't stayed static. Doesn't static imply it's been staying the same, using the same formula again and again, rinse and repeat? That doesn't feel like the right descriptor for where the series is at. Has it not reached the same heights of excitement and storytelling and thematic depth and world building that we're used to? I would say that that's fair, and maybe you could call that stale, but static? I mean, if anything, a lot of fans feel the series has changed far too much. You know, the combat, and well, I mean, this is kind of why so many people hype to see 16 go medieval. There's like a big urge just to get back to classic roots, Final Fantasy, some of those more recognizable elements. Yeah, it is what it is, or whatever it is. Yoshi P is going to make this entry different. The KH team helped to the combat and boss battles. That's grammatically incorrect. What, like the KH team helped the DMC5 director? Oh, well, I suppose the DMC5 director is not doing everything. Interesting that we got a KH DMC5 kind of merge going on. Clive will fight Eikons. Oh shit. Oh, sorry, I lost my way. Oh, he will fight Eikons in his human and Eikon forms. Wait. What do you mean in Eikon forms? Seems to hint that we might control more than Ifrit. Eh? Oh, snapperoo. Are they confirming there that the two Ifrits at the end, the one with the blue eyes and the one with the, was it red eyes or more purple hue, that the blue eyes one was Clive? And that Clive will also be able to turn into other icons? Man, that seems to be what that's implying. Oh, that's so crazy. That's so freaking crazy. I'm so hyped. Alright, Valisthea, the name of the world, had a super technological civilization that collapsed 1,500 years ago. Think 16 Allegons or 12 Evilis, ruins will show up. Alright, I have big feels about this. I like this. I love this a lot, but I kind of got burnt. And I wasn't really burnt because I had an amazing time with it, but I'm thinking Solheim in 15. We had that exact element there. We had ruins that were clearly telling a story about something. They were clearly painting some mysterious picture of what the civilization that had come before. And maybe it's but we never got any clarity on where it was. Like say with Solheim, we had like chambers that made like a big, what looked like a water tank, which was kind of like a rebirth chamber, a womb. And it mimicked like for like the MTs, where the MTs jumped out at the end. So it was clear that this civilization, they were trying to find out the secrets of resurrection. They were playing with necromancy, and they had the Babylon Tower. They had that area with really modern piece of technology, guarded by the dragon. Even Pitios, like I presume Pitios was built by the Solheim civilization, and how that panned out, like with Eos chained, and like then the mountain, which was an Eos wing and an Ifrit horn. For sure, no one can tell me any goddamn different about any of that, but we never got any clarification. In fact, some of the things we saw like kind of got contradicted by the story, and even some of the deepest archaeologists, like lore divers that I came across at 15, people who spent hundreds of hours trying to figure out what these ruins were about, kind of never really got anything. And maybe that's the point of it. Like maybe we're not supposed to, it's the mystery element of it and the exploration and the unknowing is kind of what is the excitement about it. I mean, that's what history is. You see unexplainable, unknowable things, and you have to extrapolate some sort of meaning or guess. That's what it is. I mean, we're still doing that shit now with like the pyramids, like the Egyptian pyramids and Inca ruins. I personally, like, if it's going to be a super tech civilization, and we did actually. Now they're comparing it to Allegons in this particular line, which we got so much on the Allegons. The Allegons was such a dope. A dope section of 14, and we know a lot about them, so yeah, I want the kind of clarification with it. Dominance transforming into icons comes with sacrifices and serious risks, but you can transform back into human. Yeah, it was at the start of the trailer where it said that turning into an icon wears away at your being. It grinds down the very essence of who these individuals are, or maybe just their humanity, which that theme right there, I've been pondering that in my mind. Like, as the world goes to war, and these icons or the dominants are forced to become icon more frequently, what happens if a dominant transforms way too many times, or as they get older and they've done it more and more? Will they start losing their humanity? Will they start breaking down? Will it move them towards dying? Will it affect their psyche in some way? And all of the icons, how long, or the dominants, how long have they had the icons? I assume we'll have some at different stages of that. Who knows? Maybe Benedicta and Hugo have only been icons recently. Presumably they don't all just happen at the same time. And then maybe we'll meet some really nutty mofo who is Odin. Like, maybe they kind of give him a bit of an all-father vibe, you know, a bit decrepit, some physical ailments going on, kind of like the Odin Regis play that they did. Like, Regis was, like, for the exchange of wisdom and the power, he was starting to fall apart. The burden of a king, the burden of great power. I really like that. It was one of my favourite elements of Type 0, that summoning had consequence. And if this is indeed the case, that it wears away, if Clive is just straight up Ifrit, which at this point, I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, is the evil Ifrit, like the Ifrit that doesn't have the humanity of Clive behind it, is whoever this rogue Ifrit just an icon that basically doesn't have humanity to it? Could the conflict between those two Ifrits play into the arc of Clive? You know, not just the arc that he has to become the very thing that killed his own brother, big trauma, but also something that questions the very nature of Clive himself and us as human beings, which is classic Final Fantasy. That element of questioning, of truth seeking, of seeing through a particular character, their evolution. And that's why I do kind of like time jumps. Like, I loved it with Noctis, to see him from where he was, the petty, pouty, stroppy, vegetable hating, anime arcade playing, like, kind of arsehole. Well, no, he wasn't an arsehole. He was just a lazy, angsty slob boy. And to go from that to the guy at the campfire scene, to stand tall, my friends. I can't, Captain. It was just so beautiful. It's just so profound to see that evolution, and tie jumps work nicely with showing that, rather than being just in a fixed sort of blimp of time. That's what we're going to get. Clive's going to go through 3 stages of life: teenager, 20s, and 30s. Yes. Show me how to be 30, Clive. Teach me. Teach me how to be dirty and flirty when you're 30. Thank you, sir. So story mode with accessories. Story mode with accessories to slow down time. Auto combo and other buffs. I understand the other bits, which I like. It's strategic, bringing in your haste, your stops, your slows, your berserks, your frogs. We'll be able to turn into a frog. So yeah, there's going to be status magic, which is sweet. I just didn't understand the phrasing of it. Story mode with accessories to slow down time. Story mode with accessories. I don't get the story mode bit in that, but okay, well, it is what it is. Action mode. Huh? Oh, actually, I should have read this before I started doing this vid. Action mode for action fans. But they can still use these accessories. However, the game will show that you use it in the UI perks. Right, so when they say story mode, they're talking about like a slow mode? Or what did they call it in 15? Where you could kind of stop the combat, make a play, drop back into it. Of course, we had that in 7 as well. Stop, strategize, then go back into action. Is it going to be fluid, the switches we can do between the two? Is it something we can change part of the way through the game, or do we have to choose it at the very start? And are they going to be difficult? Oh, and the next point is that hard difficulty mode after beating the game. Okay. As long as normal is actually pretty hard. I always just want the easy, normal, hard, or just have normal, hard, and then when you beat the game, absolutely bombastic. Help me! Why have you done this? You evil! Oh god, the postman's coming. You evil son of a bitch! What Nomura did with KH. He went so over the top with it. It's like everyone was asking for hard mode and then complained about it so much that what he decided to release was some Nightmare on Elm Street type bizzle. It was brutal, merciless, so savage. And like, from what you could play as the hardest difficulty to that, it was just too big a jump. It's too big a jump. Like for me, I don't know, maybe I just don't understand game dev properly, but isn't it just about tweaking numbers? Like the difficulties. So I never really understand why we can't, how much damage they do, how much healing does, or how big your health bars are, how much damage you do. It just seems like something that's quite easy to tweak. I don't know why we don't have a more dynamic range, a bigger variety of range and difficulties. The jumps in difficulty in Final Fantasy games, they just sometimes feel as frustrating as... Have you ever had like a pair of headphones where you have volume set in and it's like, oh, it's a bit too quiet, and you click, like that point where you then click up one, it's like, my ears, it's too loud, and you like down one, it's like, fuck, I need a volume between these two settings. It's really annoying. Okay, hard difficulty, it will have a score system for beating stages, possibly like the MC5. We're going to have the narrator. Savage! Epic! Discombobulating! I can't remember any other commands. So boss fights or any specific levels into the game, I wager. 95% of the second trailer was real time. And a lot of that looked really, really impressive. I wonder how many actual cinematics we got. It kind of really surprised me with 15 how few we actually got. Something like the next level cinematics. But that's really cool. That's great. Photo mode included. I kind of care about photo mode. I don't really have the eye for it, but there are some people who do. And this is a great addition. Photo mode is just becoming the norm now. I wonder if we're going to be able to go fishing with Clive. It'd be weird to play an RPG these days where fishing isn't involved somewhere. So 16 started with 4 people, including Heaven's Ward. 16 started with 4 people, including Heaven's Ward. What, including people from Heaven's Ward, or including Heaven's Ward? They did it where they worked on it until they decided on everything, then started full development. Whatever. Yoshi P says he has to accept FF14 1.0 and base FF15 hurt the series' reputation. Ooh, what? What? Hold up. Okay, so I'm going to get Don salty. And to be fair, I don't know, I reference 15 in enough negative light. And I hate myself for doing it. It's not how I feel. I've already clarified this. I love the game. It's just there were tings, man. There were tings. Anyone with an objective set of eyes could see there were tings. But there was still so much beauty. So much beauty. this is going to trigger me, but let me read it again. Yoshi P says he has to accept that 14 1.0 and base FF15, base 15, okay, hurt the series' reputation. That's a fair comment. I mean, obviously 1.0 absolutely, but base 15, kind of the implication that 15, just standalone, even with all the movies that they thought would supplement and back up and add like a starting level of depth, kind of didn't play out that way. It was only by the time we got Arden and Bro DLCs and whatnot that it kind of took like a really beautiful shape, but of course you can't expect, you cannot expect for a game to ever stand truly on its own merit if it needs to have all of this supplementation and additional stuff to back it up. That will never play. It has never played. I think if there was ever any chance of that working, 15 would have done it, because it had some phenomenal entries around it, but the product itself needs to be fantastic. And I think that recognition from Yoshi is exactly why he's not looking to mess around with movies and offshoots. He's just said it's going to be the game. That's what it's going to be. That's what we're going to pump, because that's what people want. So that's good. Yoshi has looked at the history. He's listened to the fans. And he's understanding what's needed. I'm about to run out of battery. I'm going to smash these points out. If this cuts out really soon, it's because of that. But he says he saw people saying they won't even touch 16's trailer because 15 was bad. Fuck those people. Fuck them. Past performance does not indicate future results. Okay? Different team, different people. It's just...
Hey, yeah, I ran out of battery. I run out. I'm going to just finish on the phone. Okay. And then the final point. I'm so close. He wants to make something different and amazing to show FF can be many things and guarantee the future of FF, to aim for new directions. That is a great list. That is a great list of details and information that fills me with so much confidence, so much relief, so much excitement. That's perfect all round. Yoshi, I cannot respect this guy more. I cannot feel safer nestled in another man's arms. I feel so secure and at ease and just caressed by this man being on the project. Yeah, absolutely ace in the hole, yo. So let me just read that bit again. It says he saw people saying they won't even watch 16's trailer because 15 was bad. Yeah, that's the next level to how I read that. I thought he said play. They won't even watch 16's trailer. Some like beard floofs. Be gone. Yeah, I mean, that's crazy. They won't even watch the trailer. Those people, we don't fucking need them, yo. Don't goddamn need them. Absolutely screw those people. They ain't fans. They're not even connoisseurs of games. They're not even just reasonable people. At the end of the day, I know it's a game and, you know, we all have our different tastes and whatnot. But if that's the kind of position you hold where you get that salty, where you get that butt hurt from a game not pleasing your senses... I know that, you know, when some people spend... It's a lot of money for some people, games, and it's a big time investment, and it's a series that's very, very precious. And, you know, when they get it wrong, or you just really feel completely let down by a game, I understand that's a really strong feeling at times, but to let that carry on to the point you won't even watch the trailer, something is just completely dead to you, that's fine. It's everyone's subjective opinion, but just move along quietly. It's when you have that position and you're still fucking complaining. I'm kind of glad those people don't watch the trailer. I can at least respect someone when they're like, okay, yep, no, this isn't for me anymore. I'm done. I'm out. I've just changed my taste. Or this series isn't for me. It's fine. It's the people who show up at every Final Fantasy vid just to complain. Those are worse. They're way worse than these kind of people. I've had motherfuckers on this channel for an age, and I've seen it. People who just... I haven't loved the Final Fantasy since 10. Everything's been shit since 10. Every Final Fantasy in Square Enix is terrible. And they still show up to everything. Every trailer, every live show, just to type that same butthurt toxic, acidic, ranty ass complaining. And the thing is, sometimes those people, like the intensity of the haters, like eventually it does burn out. That's the thing. Love and passion for a series lasts much longer, from my personal experience, than it does hate. Like we had it with 8 back in the day. That game was hated. It was as slated, or should I say Marmite, as what 13 was. It took a good 3-ish. I'd say the circle of hate, the cycle of it, is probably about 3 to 4 years long. Once they eventually die off, 8 became part of the Golden series. I much loved entry in the series. Same with kind of 13. Like 13 is now kind of an accepted, or at least in the main narrative, because the vocal minority, they do eventually like die off. They do eventually stop hating. Eventually, they've argued with so many people and made the same point about why the game was bad so many times that they finally just like burn out. And then those who actually enjoyed it can finally like have a conversation about it, post some stuff in a group without just being bombarded with attacks, being called a bloody moron, and that you don't understand the series, or that your tastes are just off, or you're an idiot, and your subjective love for something is objectively wrong. What is this nonsense, yo? We all know about it. You guys have experienced it. There are some people that, in all honesty, they just need to fucking quit gaming. Or they just need to play games that is really suited for where they're at the stage in life, which for a lot of people is just sliding a few hours of a shooter and some mindless game, like in between, just like a gameplay experience. In between work, they're adults now, they've got responsibilities, they've got kids, they're not really as mentally and emotionally engaged with the games they play anymore, and yet, because Final Fantasy was that game back in the day that made them feel a certain kind of way, made them feel special. They want, and I'd still also believe that Final Fantasy should go for it and should be held accountable to instilling these feelings. Like, they need to be good and recognise that they are an emotional roller coaster. That's what Final Fantasy is. But some people just want to feel the way they did back when they were younger. That's all they want. And they kind of unreasonably scream at Final Fantasy for what is in part the series' fault and is in part the game, but is also a large part of just their own personal ability to enjoy these games, just actually allow themselves and to insert themselves the way they did when they were young, less boneheaded, less busy, less jaded, less corrupted by the internet culture that when Final Fantasy was first kind of coming up, and even deep into the golden era of Final Fantasies, we didn't really have the internet playing such a hands-on role in games, reviewing them, the release of them when they were coming out, all of the intensity that's put on the timeline and the development and the sharing and exchanging of ideas and reviews. It kind of didn't really exist in like pre-10. Like not in any kind of considerable way. I think the times have just changed, Joe. The times have changed. But anyway, that is the little update for all the 16 stuff. Woo! It's happening, Captain. A lot of great stuff, a lot of great details, and just seeing this like little segment of info, this for me is just, I know we've had trailers, but this is when development and theory crafting really feels like it's beginning. Is when we're just getting like developers' notes and info on the stuff coming out. It makes me so hype. But thank you so much for watching, guys. Let me know in the comment section below how that all sits with you. Are you like ace list? That is a great segment of juiciness that gets you optimistic. Any particular points that you felt strongly on, you feel like you would have included, let me know that. And yeah, I will see you guys probably the next video I do in America. Way! Never ever been. This is my first time out there. I do not know what to expect. Maple syrup and shootings? Ooh, I shouldn't have said that. That was a little bit on the line. No, I'm really looking forward to coming out. And yeah, if any of you are in the Pennsylvania Northeast region, or if basically anywhere between July and August, which is the main month I'll be out there, you guys are free or up for like hanging or doing something cool, any Ameribras out there, let me know. either in the comment section below or ffpeasant@mail.com, which is my email. Skibbity bat bat boom. Until the next video. Kupo! Peace, guys. Oh, and I got over 100k subs again. You got me back over there, boys. Took bros, took hoes, do's and dudettes. Thank you so much. Woo!